Welcome to this training on the tunnel, the descent into darkness, a man's rite of passage. My name is Artemis, founder of Sovereign Training Systems. Let's dive in. Here's the truth most men never say out loud. Most leaders don't burn out because they're weak. They burn out because they've stayed strong for too long. You're not failing. You're still functioning. But deep down inside, you can feel something is off. Entering the tunnel. What if the very thing that built your life, your discipline, your responsibility, your ability to carry pressure and hold the line, what if that's now become the very thing limiting you to grow to your next level? High performance is not the same as being in alignment. And most men inside the tunnel, they don't always feel lost. They just feel off, and they don't know why. This is not a motivation problem. This isn't about your mindset. It's not about pushing harder or staying busier. This is about remembering who you are beneath the identity that made you successful. For the first 20 years of my life as a man and a leader, I did everything right. My name is Artemis, and I'm founder of Sovereign. My background, 25 years as a master holistic healer, trained under 3 holistic doctors, 3 of the finest holistic doctors in the world, Dr. Gabriel Cousins, Dr. Brian Clement, Dr. Robert Morris. I've worked in 3 holistic medical clinics, extensively training, apprenticing under some of the finest doctors in the world. I've built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. I've run teams as a leader, and I burned out. In 2019, I entered the tunnel. This was not a breakdown for me. This was a reckoning. This was my own descent into darkness. One morning, I woke up and I began questioning everything I was doing. After 20 years of service, 3 holistic medical clinics, over 45,000 people served, I began to ask, what am I doing? Why am I even doing this? What was it all for? And was it even worth it? This is one of the most painful times in my life, where I began to question my very self, my very identity, my very direction. What I didn't see yet is the tunnel wasn't a failure. It was a signal that something deeper was misaligned inside of me. And what I didn't realize yet is I had been wearing the mask of the hero and the overachiever for 20 years of my life, and it was starting to come off. I learned to be the hero in my childhood, to protect my family, to keep myself safe from collapsing under stress. This identity saved me while living under the pressure of a single mother family with very little money to go around. I needed to be the hero to stay safe. The hero is the one who carries the weight. It's the one who saves the victims and damsels, the one who holds everything together. I became the hero in holistic health, thought I was here to save the medical system. And that identity built my whole life as a master healer until it stopped working. Then God asked me to rise. God asked me to become a leader, not a savior, but I wasn't ready. So I chose to stay the hero, and that choice cost me my health, my alignment, and my authority for 4 more years. Sometimes we wear a mask for so long in our life, we don't realize how heavy it's become until our body starts paying the price. The mask is not a flaw. It's a brilliant adaptation of our nervous system. We put the mask on to survive under the pressure of growing up as a son and daughter of God. But the problem is not that you wear the mask. The problem is that you outlived it. The tunnel, the descent into darkness. There are 3 obstacles every man and leader will face. They are the drift, sedation, and the tunnel. The tunnel is one that changes everything for a man. It's his sacred rite of passage. The tunnel is the dissolution of a man's identity and a redemption of his soul. The version of you that built your life, the hero, the protector, the perfectionist, that version you can't take with you where you're going through the tunnel. The old identity and orientation that built your life no longer holds anymore, and the new one has not formed yet. So here's the reframe. If you're in the tunnel right now, this is not a midlife crisis. This is your own sacred rite of passage. If you're in the tunnel right now, this is sacred time. I know there's a lot of pain involved, but it's sacred. Remember that many men, and especially a leader, define their whole life by their identity, who he is within his mission, direction, and purpose. When your identity begins to dissolve inside the tunnel, it is one of the most painful and confusing times in a man's life. If you're in the tunnel right now watching this, this is why you are here, to find a way through. And our culture failed men. In modern times we live in, there are no authentic initiations for men to move through their own rite of passage. No structure, no clear guidance or direction. And it's easy while you're here to just trap yourself in sedation, because that's what every successful man is doing in some form or another, with alcohol, food, THC, plant medicines, even mission trips and so-called sacred experiences of personal growth. These are all forms of sedation, and there are many ways a man can sedate inside the tunnel. Instead of entering the sacred rite of passage consciously and creatively, society labels the tunnel as being weak or confused. Medicine, foods, and drugs will just medicate the hidden pain, but you just become more sedated. And Hollywood makes fun of this like it's a midlife crisis. But in reality, this moment, the tunnel, it's a truly sacred time for a man. The tunnel begins around ages 40 to 55, depending on how much the man has built and how much impact he has created. I entered at 40, kind of early, because I started impacting a lot of lives at the age of 21. And I had served over 40,000 people by the age of 40. Before the tunnel, you built your life through responsibility, pressure, identity. You became the one others relied on. But your nervous system was never meant to carry this identity forever. While in the tunnel, you can still perform, but something feels off. You begin to question things you need to be certain about. You feel disconnected from your own life. And here's the weird thing about the tunnel. You feel all alone, even when you're surrounded by friends and family who love you. You're not lost, but you're no longer clear in your next steps, clear in your direction. This is your call to rise. You're not who you were, but you don't know who you are becoming quite yet. And let's look at the masks inside the tunnel. The truth of the masks we wear as men, the masks that help you become successful, don't break in the tunnel. They get exposed. And every leader experiences the weight of their mask here. Leaders and high-performing men wear one or two of the 5 major masks that help to build their life. The hero, the protector, the people pleaser, the overthinker, and the perfectionist. Now, there are actually 9 masks according to the Enneagram. But for the purpose of this training and the men watching it, let's dive into the 5 major masks and look for my book on unveiling the masks later on to learn all 9. The hero, beliefs. If I stop, everything will fall apart. My worth comes from what I produce. I can rest after I win. If I succeed, I'll be loved. This was me for 20 years. This sucked. When I learned about the hero, I was pissed off. I was like, fuck, I don't want to be that anymore. Who am I if I've already won? Who am I if there's no one to save? And that's the man I am today. When the hero emerges from the tunnel, he feels he's already won. You take command and lead without overgiving or talking on too much, or taking too much, or talking too much. Your power becomes clean and regenerative. Every man who comes to the tunnel gets a clear signal through alignment, coherence, and capacity. The protector, beliefs. If I stay alert, I won't be blindsided. Something could go wrong at any moment. I have to prepare for the worst. If I relax, I'll be caught off guard. The protector is always scanning for threats. When the protector emerges through the tunnel, he possesses a calm discernment and a calm precision in his actions. There's a deep trust inside of him that replaces the need to control or to protect. A protector's leadership now stabilizes the field around him, and he brings power and poise to others. The people pleaser, beliefs. If I'm needed, I won't be left alone. My value comes from helping others. If I say no, I'll hurt someone or lose connection. Other people's needs matter more than mine. Now, here's the thing about the people pleaser. It's in a little bit of all the masks, but especially the hero. When you emerge from the tunnel, you give while establishing healthy boundaries. It's easy to say no. You give to others from a sense of fullness and richness for life because you've regenerated life and power. You're more resilient. You're taking care of yourself. You're setting boundaries. You possess honest leadership and direct communication. The overthinker, beliefs. If I understand everything, I'll be safe. I need more information before I can act. The world asks too much of me. Staying in my head is safer than being intimate. The overthinker will escape to his mind to try to protect his heart. When the overthinker emerges, he moves with decisive action. You are the leader that speaks once and shifts the entire field. Your insights now become embodied, and you feel guided each day. The overthinker leads with his heart and can have intimacy and connection with his woman and his world. The perfectionist, beliefs. If I do things the right way, I won't be criticized. I have to hold myself to higher standards than everyone else. Relaxing is dangerous because things will fall apart. If I stay disciplined and do it right, I'll be okay. The perfectionist is obsessed with staying in control because they fear losing control. When the perfectionist emerges to the tunnel, they lead with calm authority and precision. Precision with a sense of creative ease and the lightness of being. They know their Heavenly Father has got them covered, and all systems, processes, people, family, everyone around them is covered by the Almighty Father. The perfectionist creates conditions where excellence naturally emerges. Now remember, all 5 of these masks have virtues, but you can't express the virtue when you're living in survival. You can only awaken the virtues and direct these masks consciously when you emerge through this tunnel. Initiations of a man. There are 5 stages of a man: page, knight, prince, king, elder. This is not philosophy. This is the architecture of masculine development. The page is your early formative years. The knight is when you graduate high school. You're looking for adventure. You're looking to get paid and get laid. The prince is 30s to 40s. This is when you start to get connected to a deeper purpose. You start building. You double down and focus on building and building and building. And then you create an amazing business, family, life. And then from prince to king, you enter the tunnel. This is the rite of passage. Now, most men don't get to king and elder unless they're willing to pay the price and go through the tunnel and awaken. The page is where every man begins, open, observing, learning the world. He studies what is rewarded, what is rejected. Who must I become to belong? In the page, this is where you form your mask to stay relevant and significant to your world. You learn who you must become to belong in your family, in your community, and in your world. The page does not choose, he adapts. The knight is forged through action. He earns his place through work, through discipline, through proving. He becomes capable, reliable, respected, but his worth is tied to output. The burden of the knight is the knight doesn't stop. When the knight gets focused, he just goes and goes. He's always seeking adventure. So he pushes more effort, more responsibility, more pressure. He becomes the man other people depend on. When the knight becomes the hero, the protector, he starts saving the day, but he's not the man who is free because his power is still earned and his power is fragmented. After night is the prince. The prince builds a great life for himself and his family. He carries the responsibility. He produces great results. He holds everything together, but underneath, he is still trying to prove something to the world. Most men never leave the prince stage. They succeed, they provide, they lead, but they get lost in sedation, drifting to the tunnel. What happens is the knight and the prince, they chase pleasure, they chase work, they get busier, they keep going, they provide, they lead. Their value, their sense of value is always based on what they're doing and how they're leading and not who they are. Many men never become sovereign in their power until they meet me and see what's available to them on the other side of their mask. The tunnel is the initiation for the prince. There are 3 phases for the prince: early prince, middle prince, and late prince. And when you get to that late prince phase and you get to the top of the mountain, your life is beautiful. You've got the business, you've got the success, you've got the family, you've got the house, the car, the kids, whatever. It all starts falling down. Your ego begins to dissolve. It's in the tunnel where the prince's identity begins to die and dissolve, and the soul is redeemed. It's in the tunnel that your identity, the mask you carry, dissolves, and your ego and your mask is reborn. The mask, your ego, your identity that once built your life, it no longer works for you here. You've got to let it go. What dissolves is the need to prove yourself, the pressure to constantly perform for your family, your team, and your world. The mask that carried everything and made you successful. On the other side of this tunnel, you start to feel content, aligned. You have clarity of your vision, your values, your genius, your mission. You know who you are. You know where you're going. And grace and synchronicity follows you. There's more than enough money, time, and resources because you entered the kingdom of heaven. You've emerged through the tunnel, awakened. What is being formed here right now is the king. But there's a saying, though, every man who wants to become a king, every man wants to become a king. But few men are willing to pay the price. The price is pain, transformation, and awakening. The king does not perform for power. He contains it. He does not force leadership. He commands the field and leads with love, power, and wisdom in perfect balanced action. His presence stabilizes others. His decisions are clean. His energy is steady and his power is regenerative. The fifth stage is the elder. The elder no longer builds for himself. He is the builder of legacies and empires of change. He becomes the source of great knowledge, wisdom, and impact for all the earth. Like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, these men were elders in their time, and they became the compass on the map. But no man becomes an elder without first becoming a king. The other side, your clear signal. The number one most important thing to know right now, if you're in the tunnel, is to know your mask. How did you orient to survive? And how is that pattern showing up in your life? How are you fragmenting power? When the mask is unveiled, your signal clears. You stop being the hero, protector, guardian, people pleaser, or perfectionist. There's no more fragmentation of your power. You stop forcing, you stop needing to prove yourself, and you start taking command of your woman and your world. You lead from clarity, alignment, and coherence. And when I say take command, it's not aggressive. It's not dominating or domineering. It's alignment. The field responds to your energy, not from what you do, but from who you are on the other side of this tunnel. Here's the sovereign cross in the sovereign power path. Alignment builds coherence. Coherence expands capacity. And the expansion of capacity through alignment and coherence is the containment of your power as a leader, as a man. Now, if you are trying to expand capacity without alignment, your true self, and you're wearing a mask, you are fragmenting power. And that's why when you try to add more supplements, more biohacks, more tools, more personal development, more workshops, more plant ceremonies, nothing is working because you're trying to optimize through your survival patterns. You're not here to survive. You're wired to survive. Thriving is a choice. And to come into alignment, you have to awaken. You're done with transformation. You have to awaken. And when you get into alignment and coherence, you shift orientation. This is the vertical pillar of the cross. Orientation, identity, architecture. And in our sovereign training systems, we teach you architecture to get you a frame around your life where you can stay in the proper orientation and build a new identity as a king. Here's the thing. It's easy to fall back and become a people pleaser, a hero, a protector, until you learn how to channel heaven into the earth, until you learn how to position yourself in orientation, identity, and architecture. This sovereign cross you see is in the book of Matthew. Seek first the kingdom of heaven within, and its righteousness, the vertical pillar of this cross, and all else will be established unto you. And I'm not talking religion, although I love Christianity, and I'm talking states of consciousness. Seek first the kingdom of heaven, alignment and coherence, and its righteousness, orientation towards the kingdom and serving God. And you will build an identity. You will learn to rule and reign with Christ. And you will build an architecture that is noble and righteous around your life to lead your family, your business, and your world in alignment, coherence, and capacity. When alignment is restored, your clarity and direction returns. Your biology and coherence stabilizes. You've activated your inner compass again, and your direction in life, family, and business sharpens. You stop forcing. You start leading from a new orientation, identity, and architecture once you've achieved alignment and coherence. Here's what a clear signal looks like on the other side of the tunnel. I'm going to paint this picture for you. You have a calm, energetic signature, and others relax in your presence. You possess pristine clarity and certainty in your direction, and you awaken. You've dissolved internal noise or pressure. Your mind is calm and guided. Your power is regenerative, and your protocols now stack in new ways from a coherent nervous system and biological resilience. Yes, I can show you how to achieve these states of mind, heart, and nervous system. And finally, you take command of your woman and your world without having to prove anything, because your clear signal penetrates the entire field with no fragmentation of power, no resistance, no confusion. You don't need more strategy. You don't need more discipline. You require a shift of orientation, identity, and architecture that helps you to contain your true self and build regenerative power. And you need an orientation and architecture that can sustain power to build your legacy. This is why I created the Sovereign Power Profile. If you've made it this far, you already know something may be off. Not on the surface, but underneath your performance. The question is no longer if you're leaking power, it's where. The sovereign power profile was built to show you exactly that. This is not a personality test. It's not another tool. It's a diagnostic that reveals which mask is running your system, where your power is fragmenting, what stage of the path you're actually on. Take the sovereign power profile now. It's 3 to 5 minutes. You'll get immediate clarity. Click the link below this video. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're carrying more than you've processed. And that is what's pulling you off course. Tap the link below this video to get started. Take the sovereign power profile today. My name is Artemis, founder of the Sovereign Training Systems, and I'll see you on the other side.